This is In Touch with Terri, a power-packed podcast for the medical aesthetics industry.
I just discovered your podcast, and I feel like I've hit a gold mine.
This is someone who's got a lot of knowledge. She's been there, done that.
Terri Ross is a former Fortune 500 executive, international speaker, and Terri Ross Consulting.
Just listening to her energy and her passion and just how hardcore she is.
Her knowledge of the industry and just her connections in general are phenomenal.
In Touch with Terri will bring you solutions to increase operational and employee efficiency and practice profitability. Plus, feature some of the top industry experts as guests.
Terri, your courses and your podcast are just so helpful.
She made me feel like I could do this.
3, 2, 1.
Here we go!
Now, here's Terri.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of In Touch with Terri. I am so glad that you are here with me today. I have traveled all over the world speaking, doing on-site sales training for medical aesthetic providers and practices. I was recently in South Africa, so honored to be visiting my friend Victor, who I met at the aesthetic show a couple years ago, who has 20 clinics. I spoke, I trained their team, and then I went to Dallas, and then I was in Atlanta. And when I was doing all of this back-to-back robust travel, I really realized that my zone of genius, what I've really studied my entire career, both in Fortune 500 for 16 years and then consulting with practices. And when I wrote my sales training curriculum, that this would be such a valuable episode to share with you. I talk a lot about the value of sales. I talk a lot about how we run efficient and profitable practices. But the one thing that I still feel happens quite often, or I get an abundance of discovery calls, is that people sometimes in the aesthetic space, it's really easy to kind of overlook our team, our employees. We think that we've provided training, but we don't measure how they're doing. We put a lot of money in marketing, but we're not tracking conversions or what KPIs to measure. And so the purpose of this episode is I really wanted to provide you guys with 18 tips to really elevate and enhance your front desk team, your patient concierge, and their phone skills. So if this is an area you struggle with, you don't have call tracking, you don't listen to the calls, you're not sure your conversions, I really, really want to invite you from the bottom of my heart to just be vulnerable with yourself and to be honest with yourself and say, gosh, I don't do these things, but I know that this is an area of opportunity to improve. Because it's great to have a beautiful practice and a gorgeous website or branding or the most innovative and latest equipment and technology. And maybe you're throwing a lot of dollars in marketing campaigns. But if you can't convert the caller into, right, we look at this KPI as an inquiry to a consult and then a consult to close. And if we are not converting them at least 70%, please write that down. 70%. Shame on us. We know we can do better. The value of this, and again, I was in my robust travels, and when I speak all the time, it's really just something that comes up often. And I get it. I've studied sales and psychology of sales and why people buy things. I've sold capital equipment. And I've trained now corporate teams in medical aesthetics. And we can't just think about selling the widget or selling the procedure or the product or the laser or the injectable. It's really about how do we engage with a patient better than anyone else so that we can elevate the perception, more importantly, get them to buy from an emotional perspective and convert that caller. So by empowering our patient concierge and our front desk team to excel in sales, and phone communication is so crucial for your business success. So today I really wanted to share my checklist with you so that it can help you assess and enhance your team's phone skills. So if I were you, I would take a second, put it on pause, grab a pen and paper. I think that you're going to really want to take notes. So number one, does your team introduce themselves and state their name and title? Hi, this is Terri. I'm the front desk concierge at ABC Aesthetics. Do they ask who they are speaking to? May I get your name and number? Are they asking for contact information in case the caller gets disconnected or drops for some reason? What kind of tone and attitude do they convey on the phone? It's really true when you're having a bad day, or the smile. It sounds really silly, you guys. And sometimes I think it's silly because I teach this all the time, but it's really not. And I've listened to thousands of phone calls, and I ask other people when I'm training, and it's kind of a cringe sometimes. So really take these 18 tips with intention and with legitimacy that this is real. Number 5, are they knowledgeable? Can they answer the prospective patient's questions? Or do they have to transfer that call to someone else? That is not something that we want to do, because the minute we break the continuity of care, or we have to wait for somebody to call us back, that person's already calling someone else. Number 6, how well do they know your products and procedures and surgeries and services? Can they easily explain your unique value proposition, your unique sales proposition? How do you stand out? How are you different from the competition? That's very important. People will say, oh, my team's great. They know how to do it. I'm going to challenge you to ask your team to line up in a row and ask them what your unique value proposition is. I promise you, the majority of the time, they're going to say something different. So we really want that to be standardized. And we work on that in my sales training curriculum. How solution focused is your team, and how well versed they are on the features and the benefits? That's something we work on too. What is the feature versus the benefit? Number 9, can they engage in dialogue with the client and ask a series of open-ended questions versus closed-ended, the yes or no? Number 10, can your staff confidently navigate the questions regarding price? That is the number 1 objection. And it's hard, and we get tripped up and we start defending, or they'll ask how much something is, and then we say the price, and then it's clicked by. We paid money for the caller. Now we've lost the caller. This is something we really, really have to hone in on and anticipate the price objection and be confident on how to overcome that. Number 11, are we making sure that we've answered all of the prospective clients' questions? Are they satisfied with the responses? Are they active listening? 80% of a conversation, of a consultation, should be listening. And I mean with intention, because the better you get at asking questions, the answers uncover where you're going to navigate that caller. And so are they surface? Are we really getting down to the root of why did the caller call your practice? What do they perceive as value? I give this phrase that I say all the time: push the caller. If you don't ask, you don't know. What are you looking for when you choose an aesthetic practice? Let them tell you. If they say price, they're telling you that they're a price shopper. You now need to decide, do you want that caller or not? And again, we get into a significantly more of a deep dive in the sales training. Number 13, are they offering to schedule the consultation or the appointment? Or are they just saying, when would you like to come in? No, it's how about Tuesday at 2? How about Wednesday at 5? Be very specific. You drive the call. Number 14, are they explaining the consultation process and talking about your consultation fees and your cancellation fees? These are processes. These are protocols, you guys. Everyone expects. It's just pure perception. You get what you pay for. I say this often too. I live in Los Angeles. I had a medical spa in Beverly Hills. And why is one person charging $150,000 for a facelift, and then across the street is 50, and then on the other street it's 20? Honest to God, that's the truth. And what do you perceive as better? We have to be able to give value. The value of charging is so the patient has sweat equity. Again, it's going to reduce your no-show rates. That is a pure statistic, by the way. And you're going to get a higher viability of patient who's coming in ready to spend money with you. So are you able to talk about what you can expect when you come to ABC Aesthetics? Is you're going to be meeting with our provider for 45 minutes. We take a comprehensive approach. Like, again, this is number 14. How well can they explain the process? Because the continuity of care between someone answering the phone to that provider in the consultation room to the time when we close, that conversation is very succinct. Number 15, what are your conversion rates? I think I said it earlier in this podcast. It should be minimum 70%. If it's not, call me. We have work to do, but we have to start to peel back the onion and figure out why. Is it a training issue? Are you not getting the qualified leads that you need? It's usually a mix of both, but we really have to peel back the onion and start to investigate and look at the data. 16, are you offering to send clients valuable information? Perhaps they didn't book with you. We have to, again, figure out why. Were we answering their questions? Did we uncover their needs? And can we make it seamless for them by giving them the information based on something they were interested in? 17, fortune in the follow-up. What is your follow-up process? Do you have one? How well do you measure it? Statistics also show 45% of people are never followed up with at all. You guys, it's horrible. It's horrible. So I really want to help you connect the dots and put these puzzle pieces together, because when you do, it's magic. When everybody knows, what am I expected to do? What is my role? How am I contributing to the patient experience, the journey, the outcome, the revenue, the profitability? And again, how often are we training? This isn't like a one and done. This is constant accountability and inspecting what you expect. And finally, number 18, the little details matter. We're also inundated with emails and text and chats and WhatsApps and DMs and IGs and all these things. But thank you notes, they go a long way. I don't know about you, but I love getting something in the mail. I'm like, oh my God, who sent me something? It's kind of exciting. So those were my 18 tips. I'd love to invite you to go back and really, again, listen to this again, because as we wrap up today's episode, I want you to remember training your team holistically, front desk, your PCCs, your providers, your owners, but training your team on phone skills isn't just about handling calls. It's about creating exceptional customer experience that will build lasting relationships and drive your business forward. The most valuable takeaway in this episode is a well-trained front desk team can transform every phone call into an opportunity for significant growth. And by investing in their skills, you're not just improving communication, you're enhancing your entire business's potential. So take the time to equip your team with the tools that they need to succeed. And I promise you, watch as it makes a profound impact on your success. I have so many case studies. One I share just because it's such a valuable number. There was somebody who converted a patient that was going to have surgery someplace else. That one caller was $32,000. Just do the math. So whether you have a med spa, an integrative medicine practice, a plastic surgery practice, a mixture of both, you guys do the math. For a very small investment to invest in your team, working with me to train your team on these sales training techniques, what it can do to your revenue. We've had people grow $2-3 million a year. So it's a very small investment for a high return. I'm super passionate about this. As you guys know, as I mentioned earlier, I love it. You allow me to do what I love. So thank you so much for tuning into this episode. If you found it valuable, I would love for you to share it with your other colleagues. And if this is something that you're struggling with, you know that you're not tracking conversions, you maybe have trained your team in the past, but it's not ongoing, and you want help, and you're really saying, you know what, I'm not doing the best that I possibly could. I want more money. I want a better patient experience. Then I really do invite you to check out Terri Ross Consulting. Please schedule a discovery call with me. I would love to hear from you, learn more about you. That's my whole passion and why I do what I do. But I hope you found these tips valuable, and I cannot wait to hear from you. So stay tuned for another episode of In Touch with Terri. Ciao, guys.
Thanks for listening to In Touch with Terri. If you are ready to go further, faster, please visit terrirossconsulting.com and mention this podcast, In Touch with Terri.